going on, everybody? Cabana Greg here, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at some of the games I picked up at a retro video game swap meet. So, for those of you that are new to the channel, this is my second retro swap meet that I've ever been to. But yeah, this time around I actually picked up quite a bit. I picked up a decent amount of 3DS games, some DS stuff is in here as well. Picked up some PlayStation Vita games too. So there's a good variety in here, and I really wasn't looking for anything in particular. But, you know, a lot of vendors had 3DS games and a ton of them because, you know, the eShop just closed down. So couldn't resist picking up a bunch of 3DS stuff while I was here. Alrighty, without further ado, let's take a look at some of the stuff I picked up at the swap meet. Alrighty, everybody, so here we are with my bag of games that I picked up at the swap meet, and we're just going to go through pretty much everything that I picked up. I've got some new sealed games, got some Wii games, Vita games, but I mostly picked up a lot of 3DS games, so there's quite a few of those to go through. And starting at the very top of my pile here, we've got Zero Time Dilemma for the PlayStation Vita. You can see on the back here, there's a cast of characters here from the game. And this is one of the sealed games that I ended up picking up today. So this is brand new. I have the first Zero Time Dilemma game. I think it's Zero Escape on the Vita. And from what I understand, there's 3 games, I think, in this trilogy or this series. So I'm excited to see what this game is all about. And so when I saw it today, I was like, yeah, I'll definitely pick this one up and, you know, check it out. So that's Zero Time Dilemma. Alrighty, next here, I have another new sealed PlayStation Vita game. And this is Freedom Wars. See, Freedom Wars for the PlayStation Vita. Cool cover art on the front, and then on the back you see Fight Your Way to Freedom. And again, this is another sealed game that I ended up picking up from the swap meet today. So this is, from what I understand, this is basically Monster Hunter on the PlayStation Vita. And I'm a really big fan of the Monster Hunter series. I played it a bunch on my PSP when I was younger, and so I thought this would be a really cool game to add to my PlayStation Vita collection. And the interesting thing about both of these games, actually both of these sealed PlayStation Vita titles, is that the vendor, I got these from the same vendor. He was telling me that he actually got all of his PlayStation Vita inventory, his sealed like new games, from Venezuela. Alrighty guys, so I went ahead and peeked as to, you know, what was next on the stack here, and it looks like we've got all of our 3DS games up next. And the first one here at the very top of my pile is Shin Megami Tensei Devil Summoners Soul Hackers for the 3DS. You can see there's a little cute creatures on the back here. We've got the manual. Actually looks like a pretty cool manual. And we've got the game cartridge right here as well. So this game's pretty cool because the second Soul Hackers came out. Soul Hackers 2 came out on PlayStation 5, Xbox, PC. And I heard that you don't need to necessarily play this first Soul Hackers game to appreciate or understand the storyline of the second game, but I saw this at one of the booths and thought this would be a cool introduction to the Soul Hackers series, and I do want to play it too at some point, so I thought it'd be fun to just at least go through the first game on the original hardware and then, you know, play Soul Hackers 2 at some point. But yeah, this is Soul Hackers for the 3DS. Alright, so the next game here at the top of my stack is a game that I used to play quite a bit on my Game Boy Advance. This features one of my favorite Pokemon generations of all time. You might have guessed maybe what this game could be, but this is Pokemon Alpha Sapphire on the 3DS as well. You know, on the back here, you've got all your starters. I love all of the starters in Ruby and Sapphire. I love Mudkip and Torchic and Trico. I think they're just a really solid batch of starter characters, starter Pokemon. Okay, so there's no insert, well, there's no manual. It looks like it's just an insert, maybe. Not sure if this is what was standard. And then you've got your little game cartridge right here. So like I mentioned, big fan of Ruby, Sapphire, and specifically Emerald. I think Emerald's an excellent game. I was happy to see that this was at one of the booths. Personally, I'm a Ruby guy. I had Ruby on my Game Boy Advance and Emerald. But, you know, Sapphire, you know, nothing wrong with that. And happy to add this to the 3DS collection as well. Okay, next here in my pile of 3DS games, we've got a series that I really love as a whole. But I also love these games which are rhythm music-based games that also are, you know, within the same franchise, and that is Theater Rhythm Final Fantasy. Again, on the 3DS as well. You get the little insert here, the little manual, and again, we've got the game cartridge here as well. So the most recent Theater Rhythm released on all the major platforms, and I had always been a fan of these games back on the DS, and I saw that this was pretty cheap, $10.
So I want to go ahead and pick this up, and eventually I will be getting the latest Theater Rhythm. Not right now, I'm not like in a huge rush to go and pick that up, but I figured at some point it'd be good to get the new one. Okay, still working our way through our 3DS games. Next is a game that I never played the original on the N64, never played it. I've also never played like any game in the series. You might have seen from the last swap meet I went to, I picked up the I believe the second GameCube entry. It might have been the first GameCube entry for this franchise, but this is Star Fox 64 3D on the Nintendo 3DS. Okay, yeah, you can see all of the ships back there. I think is this motion control, it looks like. That's pretty cool. Cool, we've got the little instruction booklet here, and then we've also got the game cartridge here as well. So yeah, like I said, never played the original game on the N64. Not really a big Star Fox person, but I saw this at a very good price, and I wanted to pick it up a physical copy instead of just buying this on the eShop. So I'm excited to actually go through this game at some point and see what all the hype was about for Star Fox 64. And from what I've heard, that this version of the game is actually really good. It's maybe the definitive version at this point. So I'm excited to actually go through and experience the game for the first time. Okay, the next game here in the bag of goodies is a game that I got as a gift from a good friend of mine, long time friend of mine. We went back and forth on this quite a bit. He was asking me if I wanted it. I was like, no, I don't want it. He's a big fan of this franchise, and he, his whole point in buying this was like, I'm a big fan of this series. I want you to experience it, and I want you to have like that experience of like playing a game like this for the first time. I think you'd really like it. And that is Fire Emblem Awakening on the 3DS. I know there's like 3 or 4 versions of the Fire Emblem games on 3DS, but this is, I believe, from what I've read, and as you can see, this is the instruction booklet manual as well, and the game cartridge there as well. So from what I've heard online on the Reddits, that Awakening is a really good starter Fire Emblem game to play. Like if you haven't played any Fire Emblem games, this is a very good game that will sort of like introduce you to Fire Emblem as a whole. And I was talking to another friend of mine she's really into Fire Emblem as well, and she was even telling me that this is like kind of a classic at this point. Like Fire Emblem Awakening is considered a classic to some in the community. And it is a really good starting point for if you're new to the franchise, and it's also just a very good game overall. Alrighty, working our way through this pile again. Next is a spin-off title that I really enjoyed the movie a couple years ago at this point, and so I was excited to actually see the game on sale for a decent price. Excited to play through this and see how this game plays, how it is as a whole. But this is Detective Pikachu for the 3DS. See I love a little Detective Pikachu with his hat. Very, very cute. Okay, so no manual. It looks like just an insert potentially. And then this is the game cartridge here as well. So yeah, like I said, I like the movie quite a bit. I've heard that this is a very interesting spin-off for, the Pokemon series as a whole. And a lot of my friends that are big into Pokemon, big into Pikachu, really like this game. They think it's charming and fun, and it's an enjoyable 10 to 12 hour experience. So decided to pick this up, and I'm looking forward to checking it out in a little bit more detail. Alrighty, so moving through the stack further, it looks like I've gone through all of the 3DS stuff, so that just leaves 2 Nintendo DS games that I picked up. And I'm really excited to talk about these because if anyone's seen my first retro video game swap meet pickups video, you'll saw that at the very end of that video, I was able to pick up Professor Layton and the Curious Village. So I was really excited about that, and actually before I even was able to have time to record the video, I ended up breaking the seal on that game and just was playing it earlier in the day before I even recorded the video, just because I was really excited to play through it again for the first, to revisit, I should say. And so this swap meet was really awesome for me because I was able to pick up not one Professor Layton game here, but 2 Professor Layton games. So yes, I was able to actually finish the main trilogy, the original Professor Layton trilogy here. So I'll just start with Diabolical Box. So this is the second game in the series, 150 puzzles right there. We've got Luke and Layton on the back with some puzzles. Cool, we've got the inserts here, and then the game cartridge right here. So I'm actually really excited that I was able to pick up Diabolical Box. I used to play this game all the time back when I used to, take the bus to go to school, like that long ago. And I would just do like 1 or 2 puzzles in the morning as I was commuting to school, and then maybe like 1 or 2 on the way back, depending on how hard the puzzles were. So, really excited to, re-experience Diabolical Box and the trilogy in general. I'm planning to do a retrospective on the Professor Layton games now that I have all 3 from the original trilogy. So, that'll be something that I'll work towards in the future, but I really want to re-experience all of these games. And that leads me to Unwound Future. So I'll just put this one aside and we can talk about Unwound Future next. So yeah, so Unwound Future is the 3rd game in the original trilogy, the original Professor Layton trilogy. This doesn't include all of the 3DS games, and there's actually one more Nintendo DS game that came out way later in the Nintendo DS lifecycle. So you got the insert there again, and we've also got the game cartridge right there. So Unwound Future, I don't remember playing this one as much as I did as Curious Village and Diabolical Box, but I did remember really enjoying this game, and I think the ending to this is pretty sad, actually. You know, it leaves the series in a certain way that I don't want to spoil, but I just remember enjoying the story quite a bit. But I always came back to some of the puzzles in 1 and 2. Now, this one has a lot of puzzles. Now, sometimes it's a matter of like quality over quantity, and I think that a lot of the puzzles in this game are pretty solid from what I remember. But either way, like I said, I'm going to try and revisit all of these games in lead up to the new Professor Layton game on Switch. Okay, so actually I lied. I completely forgot that I picked up 2 other Nintendo DS games. I just got really excited about the Professor Layton stuff, as usual. This is Mario and Luigi Partners in Time on the DS. See, we've got the insert here, and then we've also got the game cartridge here as well. I'm a really big fan of the Mario and Luigi series as a whole. Superstar Saga is one of my favorite games, just in general. I played that so much on my Game Boy Advance. Partners in Time I enjoyed quite a bit, but at this point I really just want to build out the main Mario and Luigi collection. And so seeing this at one of the booths, I had to jump in and grab it. Maybe it's not my favorite in the series, but I enjoyed it quite a bit. So I just wanted to pick up Partners in Time and complete that series at some point. Okay, so for real this time, this is the final Nintendo DS game that I picked up today at the swap meet, and this is Elite Beat Agents. This is a not for resale or for display only copy of the game. So this is the back of the case. We got the little instruction booklet here, and then we've also got the game cartridge here as well. So this is a rhythm-based game, like a rhythm, music-based game. You can use the stylus and the touchscreen to actually tap along, swipe along to the beat. It's very similar to Ozu, if anyone's played that on PC. I've never played this game before, but a lot of my friends were recommending this is sort of like a hidden gem from the Nintendo DS era, and never played it, and seemed like a really cool, quirky-based game. And so I just I'm happy to pick it up, and I'll be trying it out for the first time at some point. Alrighty, so we were working our way here through this pile of games. The next game here is a bit of a controversial game. A lot of fans of this series hate this game. They think that, while Nintendo tried to do something different here with this IP, ultimately it was pretty much perceived as a failure on all accounts. This is Metroid Other M on the Wii. See, you've got Samus here and the different control styles for this game. Got the instruction booklet here, and then you've also got your game disc here as well. So Other M, I haven't played it before. I've heard it's pretty controversial in the Metroid community. Some people enjoy what it was trying to do and how different it is from other games, but a lot of people seem to have the same sort of general consensus that the portrayal of Samus as a whole was pretty bad. She came across as just very whiny and just not at all what people were expecting. And so, I wanted to pick this up because I thought it could be a cool game to experience and see exactly, what was all the controversy about and how was Samus portrayed and is it really that bad? So that's kind of where I was at. And also this was like $10. So I figured it could be like a fun little game to check out and see exactly, what was all the hubbub about. Okay, next is a game that I actually, when I saw it, I completely forgot that I was looking for this game for quite some time. This was part of, I believe, Nintendo's, I want to say it was the Treehouse Project or Treefall, Rainfall. I think it might have been Rainfall. But this was an effort, from what I remember, to localize a bunch of Japanese games on the Wii, to localize them into the States over here. And I believe, there were 3 games: Pandora's Tower, Xenoblade, which, is huge now. And there was this other third game here called The Last Story. You can see, got the, I think this is the main character here on the back. You got some cool little screenshots here from the game. You've got your art booklet there, your instruction manual, what have you. And then you've got the game disc here as well. So like I said, this, from what I understand, I think this was Nintendo's Rainfall initiative, again, to kind of localize some Wii games here from, from Japan, from overseas to the States. And Xenoblade, again, was one of those games, Last Story and Pandora's Tower, which I've heard Pandora's Tower is okay, but I've heard a lot of great things about Last Story. And the really awesome thing about this game is I believe this was actually developed by Mistwalker Studios. If you're not familiar with Mistwalker Studios, that's okay, but they helped develop one of my favorite Xbox 360 games of all things, Lost Odyssey. It's an incredible RPG that spans 4 discs. It's an excellent game. And so once I found out that Mistwalker was the team behind this game, I absolutely had to pick this up, and I'm really excited to experience this game for the first time. So this is Last Story on the Wii. Alrighty, so the last game here is an Xbox 360 game, and I actually got this free. I bought a bunch of games from one vendor, and he got me a deal, basically. This was a 360 game that I played nonstop when I first got it, and I just remember a lot of fond memories of playing this game, experiencing it, and its cool mechanics and cheesy, funny dialogue and story. And this is Lost Planet on the Xbox 360 here. Okay, you can see your main character here. You can see these are our thermal sacks that you have to shoot to keep yourself warm through the harsh winter conditions on this planet. There's the instruction booklet and the game disc here as well. I really can't say much about Lost Planet except for the fact that I just really enjoyed it. It's an excellent, fun action game from Capcom, and I'm excited to go through and re-experience this again on my Xbox One because I don't have my 360 anymore. So backwards compatibility for the win. Awesome stuff, Xbox. Alrighty, everybody. So here's another final look at all of the games I picked up from today's swap meet. If you want to see more stuff like this in the future, definitely going to be going to more of these swap meets. I had a great time, met a lot of cool people, and found some awesome games. So yeah, thanks again for sticking around to the very end of the video, and I will see you all on the next video.